Well, with us now is the Managing Director of British Gas, Phil Bentley. Why do you think people have lost trust in you?
Well, I think they definitely have, and I think one of the issues is the number of tariffs that are out there. There's 544 tariffs to choose from, and when millions of people at home are looking at their energy bill, they don't understand it, they don't understand where they can save money, and we've actually, as an industry, we've got to put our hands up and say we should be doing more to help.
Did you suddenly wake up one morning and think, oh gosh, we've got far too many tariffs? I mean, what happened?
Well, we're announcing tomorrow quite a big change because...
No, I'm asking you when you realised.
Yeah, no, I think it's been building, and it's been building for two reasons. Number one,
you've done this because you've been told to do it, haven't you?
Let me just try and...
Ofgem have told you to do it.
If I can just sort of give you the reasons why. Firstly, the world is changing, Jeremy. The world is changing because the UK today is importing 50% of the gas it needs from international markets. Now, I know you don't want to really hear this point, but let me just make one point, if I could.
It's not a new point.
A tanker landed in Britain for the gas for 100,000 homes in Britain will cost £42 million. That same tanker can sail to Japan and they'll pay £62 million for it.
You're off the point on tariffs now. I'm asking you about why you developed so many different tariffs in your industry.
Yeah.
And why you have now decided suddenly you weren't playing fair with the consumer.
Because consumers have told us they don't like it, and I think that's absolutely right. Yeah. We have to respond, which is why, if I may, we are simplifying tariffs. We're ensuring it's fixed or variable, very simple.
Would you like to apologise for the complexity of the tariffs?
I would. I would say to all viewers, you know, we have not made it easy.
Right.
We have not made it easy.
Let me refer you to this graph that I'll put up on the wall behind me now, I hope. There we are. Would you like to apologise to them for what's happened to their bills when you see that the wholesale price of energy has gone down and bills have not gone down?
Well, again, you're going to have this sort of honest conversation. What's the cost of green? What's the cost of delivery to your home? And the cost of energy that goes into the bill?
Sorry, you keep on telling us the bills go up. You've just told us, just now, that world market prices have gone up, and that's why bills have gone up. That graph proves you are not being entirely honest, because the wholesale cost has gone down and bills have not.
Jeremy, our margins are 5% a year. 5%. Let me just finish the point, if I may.
That graph demonstrates comprehensively that that is a partial picture.
It is a partial picture because it doesn't include all the other things that are in your bill. The cost of green energy, how much is it in your bill? It'll be £50 next year. That's a policy decision. Transporting it through the grid, the cost of that is going up. Within that £200 billion that Chris Huhne is talking about, we've got to reinforce the grid.
That graph isn't anything to do with green measures. That is about the wholesale cost of energy. The wholesale cost, you can see it, the wholesale cost of energy has gone down. Bills haven't gone down correspondingly.
Again, I mean, if you look at it over a longer period of time, you will see that the wholesale price of gas has gone up. Nobody denies that. Nobody denies that. But all I'm trying to say is that the wholesale price of gas is not the only part of the bill. It's the whole point about simplifying tariffs, giving customers choice, giving them transparency. So what is in your bill? How much is the commodity? Has it gone up or down? How much is transportation? How much is green levies? That's what we're trying to do for our customers, and I think that will be welcome.
And in that process, presumably you can lay some of it off on others like Chris Huhne, who's unfortunately now left the studio. But do you consider, when you look at your company, do you think you're just like any other company? Because utilities, many people feel, are not like any other company. They're not like a brewery or a fashion chain or something, are they?
No, and I think what we offer in terms of the product is an essential requirement to living in any part of the world. And we have, that's why we're very conscious of our social responsibility. We spend a huge amount of money helping those who can't afford their heating bills. That's the first point. The second point is we've got to make sure we've got the energy that Britain needs over the next 10 years. We signed a deal this week, £13 billion to bring gas to the UK for 3.5 million homes for 10 years. That's where our 5% margins, Jeremy, that's where they go.
What's an acceptable profit, do you think, for a utility company?
Well, I said 5% is what we believe is right for the investments that we're having to make.
So when it's been up at 9%, that's been morally wrong, has it?
If you look at that, that's when it was been very, very cold. So this year, I can tell you now, it'll be a lot...
You were responsible for that. It was cold, were you?
No, but we clearly sell more energy when it's cold and when it's warm, which it is now, and it's great that it is. Bills are actually lower this year
You took the
than
margin,
they were
though,
last
didn't
year.
you? You took the margin.
Well, we've got fixed costs. We pass on the benefits to our customers.
But you've just told us that 5% is an acceptable profit, and you were taking, by your own admission, 9%.
Well, I think you'll find it'll be a lot lower in the year when we sell less gas. But
Well,
that's
perhaps,
not the...
but as you've just conceded you don't control the weather, it's a rather meaningless statement, isn't it?
Well, we don't control the price of gas, I'm afraid, as well. I'd like to say that we do, but we're in an international market. What I think is important, Jeremy, is customers understanding, are they on the right tariff? That's the first point. We're trying to help and simplify. Secondly, can they use less energy? And that's where energy efficiency can make a real difference.
Well, let's broaden it out now, because we also have here Anne Robinson, who's from the consumer group USwitch, the founder and managing director of OVO Energy, a new energy supplier. Stephen Fitzpatrick is here, and Liz Hutchins from the environmental charity Friends of the Earth is also here. Are you reassured by all of this?
Not exactly, not completely. I think the answer to your first question, Jeremy, about trust, consumers have seen their bills go up by 21% this year, 2 increases in a year. Our last customer survey, which we've just done, shows that consumers' overall satisfaction has gone down from 70% to just over 60%. Only 4 in 10 believe that they're on the best deal for them, and that's why they're not trusting energy companies. And until we have absolute transparency and fairness and we understand what's going on, we're not in a position to judge whether they're being treated fairly.
This letter that British Gas you're sending out, you personally signed it. This letter to all your customers about a so-called honest conversation. Do you feel they behaved honestly?
Well, it's very difficult to make the judgment about whether they behaved honestly or not, because we don't. You see, the problem with the energy companies, they've got the wholesale and retailers. One bit is selling to the other bit anyway. We haven't got absolute clarity about what they paid for their energy. Most energy companies buy their energy 1, 2, 3, 4 years in advance. There's no real forward market.
They still don't trust you see.
I agree with you. That's why we have to do something about it. I agree with that point. But why don't they trust us? Too many tariffs, number one point. Number two, when customers are paying more than they should, traditionally the energy industry haven't written to them, but we are writing to our customers and saying, look, you could be on a better deal for you, and that will save you money. And then the third bit is we'll explain what's in your bill. How much is the energy? How much did we pay for it?
But Phil,
how much
Phil,
is the
right
green?
now, let me just say right now, there are a lot of people out there, probably the majority, scared stiff about their energy bills this winter.
And I agree.
21%. They've seen inflation about 4 or 5%. They do not understand why they're having to do this. Secondly, last winter, even though it was a cold winter, 20% of people actually switched their energy off at some point because of bills. In other words, energy, which we should all use, is not being used when it needs to be used. It's going to be a lot worse. It's a major problem.
Nobody in Britain today should not be heating their home and having to make a choice between heating and some other essential good. And that's why there's help with the warm home discount, winter fuel payments, free insulation. Nobody should be faced with that decision.
But they have been faced with it.
But then, Jeremy, we and Anne knows this, we helped 1 million customers last year with their bills.
Right. Let's look at this specific aspect of competition. The market is dominated by 6 major suppliers. You're a very small supplier.
Quite small.
Sorry, forgive me, I don't mean to insult you. I'm sure you're going places.
Growing
I'm
quickly.
sure you're going places.
Yes.
What's stopping you going places faster?
There's been a number of things. I mean, we've doubled in size in the last 6 months, so we're not exactly slouches when it comes to growing. I think we're punching above our weight, and we're delivering good value for money for customers. One of the things that I find personally over the last 6 months, and we've been working with Ofgem and ministers and consumer groups to try to raise the bar in terms of customer expectations, is just the level of confusion. I mean, we've talked about it already tonight, but it's so easy. I mean, we launched 2 years ago.
So these guys shut you out?
I was getting on to that.
Get a move on.
Okay. So the fact of the matter is that we see not only a huge range of tariffs, but also a huge range of different prices, from ones that look like they're customers being overcharged, and then other customers who clearly are paying below market costs or loss leaders. And we see this across the industry, and all of the big six have, in the past, to varying degrees, exercised this practice.
And I think that's why we agree with you. We've got to stop that and be absolutely transparent about what the tariff is, and if there's a better deal, we'll tell our customers.
You want more competition?
We welcome it. You know, we've got new entrants, we've got smart meters.
Well, you have to say that, of course.
It keeps us on our toes, and we're never shy from competing.
Yeah.
We have grown to be the largest supplier of electricity through competitive
But Phil,
markets.
can you...
Hang on a second. I'd just like to bring in Liz Hutchison. You sat there very patiently. By how much are energy bills going to increase as a cost of going green?
Well, the real big cost on energy bills, you know, as has been said, actually is gas, and it's the huge cost that we pay for rocketing gas prices internationally.
Sure.
That's the main driver. The other factor is this monopoly that the big six energy companies have. They're holding us over a barrel on prices, and frankly, you know, yes, we should switch between energy companies, but that's not going to solve the problem. We need to break open this monopoly, and we need to stop people like Phil having the
six
super
companies,
profits.
six dominant companies is not a monopoly. You might accuse it of being a cartel or something, but it's certainly not a monopoly.
No.
The argument is that they shut out competition.
They do.
That's right.
They do, and I think Ofgem, the regulators, the Department of Energy and Climate Change, the ministers in charge, I think people are really starting to see the effects that loss-leading prices have on competition. Because when a commodity like gas and electricity, we run a very tight operation. OVO Energy, I think, has probably got the lowest cost of service for all of the energy companies, and yet where we see larger energy companies using profits from old customer base, the 85% of people that are confused by the market and not switching, when they subsidise loss leaders and price us out of the market, it puts a lid on
Do you,
competition.
in the spirit of the honest conversation, you admit you've been doing that?
We have in the past. Online is definitely one that was sold as a loss leader, and that isn't right.
You'll make a
We've
public
stopped
commitment
that.
tonight. You're not going to do it anymore.
Exactly right. We're not doing that. So it's going to be cost reflective, and it's about being straight with our customers. Simple choices of tariffs, and it's not right if we're charging our loyal customers more and they aren't getting the special deal. That isn't right either, and that's why we're writing in that letter, Jeremy. We said if there's a better tariff for you, we will tell you, and that's going to build the
But
trust.
do you really expect the 85% of people that already haven't switched to take your letter up and think, do you know what, today's the day I'm going to do it? Or shouldn't you just level the prices down
Well,
so
you-
that
as
energy
you-
customers don't have to? I mean, we sat in the room with Chris Huhne and David Cameron, and we talked about sending out 8 million letters to consumers telling them they could be paying less, when the obvious answer is just charge them less.
Well,
So-
again, I mean, I don't want to sort of hog the conversation, but not everybody wants to be on an online tariff. My mum, for example, she doesn't want that. She wants a simple tariff paid quarterly.
But I think
Would
it's
you-
going to be really important to get competition going amongst those 85% who aren't switching. And I mean, I'm very much in favour of the market. I think the market's right. But at the moment, we're sleepwalking our way to more regulation. And to be quite honest, if we find that, for example, switching even drops even further, and it could well do over the next year or so because of what's happening, then it wouldn't at all surprise me if Ofgem come in and decide to introduce price regulation, and that's more interference in the market. What's best for consumers is an active market, and us engaging, and what we have to do is to get that engagement.
You
And
don't
energy
believe the
companies
market
should
works
do
at
it.
all, do
I
you?
think the market's a disaster. I think it's an outrage. I think your personal take-home pay of £1.9 million last year, at a time when 1 in 4 households are living in fuel poverty, I think that's a disgrace, frankly. And I think people will wonder, when is the government going to act to, you know, break up this big six dominating the whole situation?
Well, we do have competition. British Gas looks after half the homes in Britain, and
But
you know,
Ofgem
but
said
if
that
you
last
really-
winter that British Gas overcharged customers to the tune of £250 million is what Ofgem says that you ripped people off. So you know, you're saying you're kind of
This
fair
is-
with customers, you're going to give them more choice. Actually, we need to break open this system, you know, and completely reform it to make it, you know, fit for purpose for the future.
The only point I would make is it's an international market. We have the cheapest gas prices in Europe, and you can't deny that point.
And we need to
we're
move away
trying
from
But
gas.
if you
We
really
need to move away.
believed in competition, wouldn't you sell more of your gas on the open market?
Well, we produce gas and we do sell it on the open market. Companies like OVO do buy it, so that's not the issue. The issue is we're all having to buy we pay similar prices for the gas. I'm sure you're paying what I'm paying for
But I think the
for
point
gas.
is that prices are going up. But for so long we've heard energy companies talk about investment, the requirement for green investment, gas prices going up, the global market. It doesn't take away from the fact that energy companies historically haven't been treating their customers fairly, whatever the price is. Whether the prices are going up or not, we should all in the industry be doing a better job communicating to customers, simplifying tariffs, simplifying bills. And
That's
your move is a great
exactly
step.
what
and
we are
welcome it.
doing. That's exactly
Okay.
what we're doing.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you all very much. Thanks.